fun fact, in 1969, his father wins the lottery.
Nuh-uh.
Did you know this?
Cool. No.
How cool is that? And I was thinking, oh, that's great filmmaking advice. So if you're an aspiring filmmaker, one thing you can do is have your father win the lottery, because that would really help you in this environment. Hello, friend.
Hello, friend. What have you been up to today?
Today was a day of domestic labor. I was cleaning the patio, the balcony, and mostly shoveling cat poop, just getting ready for the next phase of my balcony, which will be amazing. I was also, last time I felt that our relationship was in danger, so I took two big measures in my life. The first measure was to get a new microphone, as displayed here. The second measure was to watch One Battle After Another. All the things you wanted from me, because I want to be the best co-host you can dream of. So I'm keep improving myself.
Thank you.
Just to be a good partner.
I'm eating some yogurt. I'm going to take one last bite.
So is yogurt with what?
Yogurt, granola, raspberries, but I normally put blueberries.
I love that for you. I love that for you.
I love it.
So
proof of life. What proof of life do you have other than cleaning your balcony?
Proof of life for me. I've been working on commercials, but then also I finished my proof of concept for the animation film that I'm making. So it's a 2-minute proof of concept. Yeah, I'm very excited about doing the last polish and sending it out. I think I'm going to put it online as well. So that took a long time, and I'm glad to have that slot out open right now back to writing and other things. When you've been putting so much hours into one project, when you liberated from that, you're like, okay, it's like Christmas. What am I doing with the extra time that I have in my life? So I've been thinking, okay, what is the next thing I'm doing? And I have to finish writing a draft of the screenplay. And then also I'm going to start working with a writer on visualizing his screenplay just to get it out. So we're working on materials for that screenplay, which I'm really excited about. I love working with writers.
Yeah.
What about you? You are amazing.
I had similar updates. I finished a feature outline, and it felt amazing to send that off to my manager. And I was like, it did feel like Christmas. I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy.
So you cracked the code. You have the DNA, you have the plot, you have the characters, you have everything laid out for you. And let me ask you a question. How much of that outline will hold when you get to write it? Do you think it's going to change a lot? Are you going to be open to changing it?
I think it will change a lot. I think that it was a very basic first pass of an outline. So it's going to change. And I obviously want it to be better than what I have right now in the outline. I just needed to get the structure out and picture, because I'm adapting it. So I just needed to see what that was going to look like. And so I'm excited to see what my manager has to say. And she always has great notes. So then I'm
how is your first time you adapt something?
Mm-hmm.
How is that process? How do you find an angle on what is exciting to adapt from a story? Because not all parts of it are maybe conducive to a film, right?
This is interesting because I think that one of the roadblocks I hit with the pilot when I started writing the pilot was that a lot of people would tell me this feels like a movie. It doesn't feel like a show. So that was working in my favor. And I was like, I already know how it ends. I had it working in my favor in that sense.
That's exciting. All right. Well, congratulations. Did you celebrate? You have to celebrate those milestones, I think.
I did celebrate. I think, what did I do? I went and got a drink with a friend, and then I got rear-ended, and that sucked.
No way.
Yeah, I got rear-ended. 2 weeks ago, I rear-ended someone because they slammed on their brakes, and my brakes weren't working. And then the other day, 2 weeks later, I was at a light, and boom, I get hit. Luckily, there was a car in the intersection, or else I would have been T-boned. But he's like...
They simply didn't look. They simply didn't look.
No, hear me out. He hit the car behind me, and that car behind me hit me. But he was in this big ass BMW, and he got out of the car, and he's like, guys, I'm so sorry. My brakes were not working. I promise you I was not drinking. I was looking at you guys. I slowed down when I saw you guys at the light, but my brakes weren't working. And I'm like, I believe you, because that happened to me when I rear-ended someone. I hit the brakes and the brakes did not work. So I'm like, what a coincidence that happened to him and that affected me. So I'm just like, I believe the guy. And he had just gotten the car. It was a brand new BMW. And he was 20 years old. I felt a little bad, but I don't know. His parents came and the other people's parents came, and I was just all...
Oh, everybody's parents were around. I love that. Did your parents come?
No. No, I wanted them to. I wanted my mom to come, but it was late. It was really late, so I didn't even call her, and I was just like, I guess I'm handling this alone.
I hate
But
that. I hate that. It's very startling when you're in a light. It happened to me. You're in a light. There's nothing in your brain that tells you you're in danger, and then suddenly you're slammed. What happened to me was that I was in the exact same situation, but I let out a very weird scream. I did something weird.
no, I did something
You
similar.
never know how your body will react in a crisis. My body reacted like something really humiliating.
It's hilarious.
It's like
No, I was pissed.
sound.
I was pissed. I started crying because I was on the phone with my friend Cesar, and I was like, Cesar, I just got hit. I was like, this can't be happening. I just had another car accident. And I'm just like, oh, this sucks. And then I get out.
Can you maybe create an efficiency by like fixing both ends of the car?
Yes.
That's great, right?
Yeah,
And then one pays for the other?
Planning.
Not
Yeah. It's a perfect loophole. Like it is a little shady, but it is what
It's
it
okay.
is.
Isn't it a gray area we all live in? Okay, great. Wow, what an intense proof of life. You're alive. I'm glad that you're not injured or anything.
Yeah,
Let's move to greener pastures. Do you want to do how they make it? I watch a bunch of movies and we're going to talk about that. But yesterday I watched Frankenstein, the Guillermo del Toro movie, which we'll talk about it later. But I thought, what a great opportunity to think about how did Guillermo del Toro actually made it, right? So
that's great.
I dug up.
I actually had that as a goal. I was like, I want to do Guillermo del Toro because I'm seeing Frankenstein tonight. So this is perfect.
Amazing. You're gonna like this then. How much do you know about his life? Do you know a lot? I didn't know anything.
No, I don't think I can recall anything. No.
Del Toro for me is one of those guys who's always been around and he's canon and he's so well respected and he comes up with his big movies. But I was thinking, okay, what is my perception of his work? I think Laberinto del Fauno, which this is the Spanish movie he did, was one movie when I was living in Spain that came out, and I wonder if it was very relevant for me because I was in Spain and everybody was like really excited about it. But he did a lot of other things. But anyway, okay, so Guillermo del Toro, obviously he's Mexican, right? He's born in Guadalajara, in Jalisco, in '64, right? He's the son of a car entrepreneur, like a guy who sells cars. Like his father is a professional in the world of cars. Fun fact: in '69, his father wins the lottery.
No.
Did you know this?
Cool. No.
How cool is that? And I was thinking, oh, that's great filmmaking advice. So if you're an aspiring filmmaker, one thing you can do is have your father win the lottery because that would really help you in this environment. Not that it takes any merit out of his career. So, but he does, I think, enables him to rise among books. And, his bio says exotic animals, which I don't know what it means, if it's like those are taxidermy animals or they actually had animals
what about it?
in the house.
What about
his biography mentions that he grows around exotic animals, apparently he collected by his father after winning the lottery. And I don't know if that's taxidermy animals. In my mind,
no, that's not. That's owning animals. I think rich people.
That's having a peacock at home.
Yeah.
In Mexico, which is totally possible, right? He describes his childhood home as an enchanted castle, fits with his work.
Oh, that's
right?
so cool.
Then he has this classic filmmaker's upbringing by experimenting with his father's Super 8 camera, making short films with his Planet of the Apes toys on objects, right? He's fascinated by pop culture and horror movies and very much influenced by that world. And so after that, he studied special effects. And this is I think, very influential part of his career. He does special effects, so makeup and that kind of stuff, right? Special makeup. And he eventually spends 10 years doing that for movies. So he has a lot of set experience by then. He worked in different sets, meets a lot of different directors, eventually opens his own company of special effects for sci-fi and supernatural horror movies. And still obsessed. What I love about him is from the beginning, he's torn between this two world of animation and live action. Not unlike me, I feel that vibe. His first feature is supposed to be a stop motion feature called Omnivore. The thing with that happened is he and his team built the sets and about 100 puppets over 3 years, and the studio they're working on gets vandalized and everything gets destroyed. This is very traumatical, and he is basically so disenchanted with the process and what happened that he decides that his next action film will be a live action film. Maybe this will be providential for him because his action film, the live action film he ends up doing, is called Kronos, right? And it's actually his breakthrough film. So how do they make it? He made Kronos. So it's 1993. He makes this low budget Mexican vampire story. It's very artful in the tone. And the movie premiere at Cannes, wins several awards. Yeah, right? Wins several awards. And that's how he gets the attention of Hollywood producers. Because at the end of the day,
who wrote the movie? He did?
He did. He's 29 years old. He writes the movie and he premieres in Cannes. So it's like a Cinderella story.
Yeah.
Right? And then, fun fact, like the protagonist of that movie is the actor Federico Lupi, who's like one of very, very prominent actor in Argentina at the time. Yeah, he was a lead role of Jesus Gris, which is this antique dealer who discovers this mysterious device, the Kronos device, which is like like a little thing, like it looks like a beetle, like a golden beetle, a brush. How do you say that?
Yeah, like a brooch. Yeah,
like a brooch, and the device grants eternal life, not without complications, of course. So this is his first film, breakthrough, right? So this is fast forward to 97, some years later, and he is given 30 million budget from Miramax, right? Then right after they are purchased by Disney, right? This is Weinstein Company, right? The commercial branch of the Weinstein Company, Miramax. He was ultimately unhappy with the way that he was treating during his production. No surprise, it's there, right? Which is funny because he led to his friend James Cameron almost coming to blows with Harvey Weinstein during the 70th Academy Award. Like they almost get physical about Guillermo. And this is not going to be the last time that Guillermo is helped by James Cameron, which is a crazy story that happens next. So in 1998, a year later, his father is kidnapped and in Mexico. Yeah, Guillermo del Toro's father gets kidnapped.
Wait. Yes. Okay. Maybe I did hear.
Do you know this?
Maybe, but keep going.
The kidnappers ask for $1 million in exchange of his father. The father is retained for 72 days. So this is nerve-wracking. It's going to be a very, very bad experience for him. Like creates a lot of PTSD later in his life. And he doesn't have any money because he sunk all the money that he had on Mimic, the movie with Harvey Weinstein. So James Cameron hears about the situation and he decides to pay the ransom.
Yes.
James Cameron is so cool.
This. Yeah, that's such a nice thing to do.
He's like, here is $1 million, pay these people. I can even think James Cameron would be the kind of guy who would go with the money to this middle of the desert to just exchange it. That's the kind of like crazy person.
How old are they at this point?
I mean, we can do the math. It's 1998, 30s. Right? So he's in his 30s because he was 29 in 93. So, about,
Oh my God.
So he's 37, 38. And James Cameron is older, though. I mean, he's already a very successful director by 98, right?
He had $1 million just lying around that he could
He did.
His friend. That's the kind of friend I want to be. Oh, you need $1 million? Sure. Just
how can we become friends with James Cameron?
No, I want to be the friend.
Oh, okay. I don't mind to be second grade from you and James just to be friends. Like maybe we can all have dinner one night. That's enough for me. Okay, if you need $1 million, you can ask him. So, this is now 98. And then after that comes a section of his career that it's about big commercial movies, right? He does Devil's Backbone and then mainstream success happens, right? Blade 2, 2002. Hellboy, 2004. Then he does his return to Spanish-speaking films with Pan's Labyrinth, El Laberinto del Fauno that I mentioned before. 3 Oscars. I think that probably sediments his place as an auteur as well as he is a commercial director because the others felt more like a direction for hire, more anonymous directing.
You would think you would think that Pan's Labyrinth came before Hellboy, but it didn't.
Right?
It came after.
It's so crazy. Don't you feel sometimes those movies and directors' careers in your mind are shuffled because right? It feels like Pan's Labyrinth, but it's more about a return to that filmmaking more than a, original movie that he did. Because for sure it feels like it should fit before the mainstream success. And Guillermo's career peaks, we'll know, I mean, so far, at The Shape of Water in 2017 when he actually wins Best Picture and Best Director at the Oscars. And I was watching his movie yesterday before we get in, and he was saying that for the longest time, his father never understands his career. He's a kind of supportive, but he's more embarrassed than supportive. He's like, yeah, this is my son who does movies. And then eventually he brings the Oscar to him and he hands out the Oscar and he goes like, okay, I won. And the father grabs the Oscar and feels it in his hands, and he says, wow, es muy pesado. It's like, it's very heavy. And he says that was the moment when he feels his father finally accepted him and his work as a filmmaker out of the weight of the Oscar, which I thought it was very symbolic and a classic Del Toro way of describing a relationship, like by weight, by like some sort of symbolic thing,
something
and
physical,
something like a physical embodiment of a father-son relationship that finally comes to an understanding. So I thought that was very interesting.
Oh yeah, it's a good story. I like that.
So that's how he made it. That's how he made it. I think he's a doer. He made it by doing stuff.
Made it by doing stuff. And it is a bit of a Cinderella story. Like first feature that he made. Like he didn't even make any short films, maybe? Maybe he just did the feature?
He made some short films before that. But that's not in his bio, but it's in the IMDb. So he did a bunch of shorts. He did a lot of work as an FX artist. But then I think the interesting thing is like he was supposed to be a stop motion director. And then out of that accident, he decided to do this other movie that is his breakthrough success in Cannes.
And it is crazy how when you're like, oh, when people say like things happen for a reason and you're like, absolutely not. Like what could be the reason? That's a terrible tragedy. And it's like, actually it happened for a reason. It's weird.
This did happen for a reason. I mean, at least looking back, for sure. I thought it was very interesting. Okay, so that concludes how they make it, and I'm really, really interested in what are you watching right now?
Well, I wanted to ask, what did you think about Frankenstein?
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good way to start. And I'm going to say something very controversial because I think I need to be honest about this. I think first that Del Toro should be celebrated. I think he's a national treasure and it's a Latin treasure. And he's the most thoughtful, I think, and interesting person to hear when you see him on an interview or in a panel. I really enjoyed the Q&A last night. It was moderated by Jean Favreau at the DGA, and they're both friends. And it was a treat.
I love John.
But I gotta say, I think that he is... I mean, I don't connect with his filmmaking. I mean, I enjoy his filmmaking. He's not one of my favorites. And I think the reason behind it is because I think all his culture, all his ideas sometimes, and all his deep knowledge about the form of cinema sometimes suffocate the art of it. It's very basic. I just don't get emotional in the moments of the movies where the movies should be moving or emotional. I'm actually very impressed by the form. I'm impressed by the way he directs, by the craft. I think the craft is impeccable and beautiful. But then when a character dies, I'm not moved, which takes me to maybe to my next movie. I will tell you in a second, but I just don't. I just feel like the movies are a little bit cold. I don't know. I mean, I'm torn because I really, really want to love his work as much as I love him.
I still remember how I felt with the effect of Shape of Water. Like I felt emotional in that movie, and I think
you did.
You didn't feel any connection to either of them.
I felt that I didn't buy the relationship between the creature and her. No, because lack of trying, but I was really predisposed to go in, and I'm a sucker for crying in the movies. I'm not really mental that way.
No, I didn't cry at it, but I thought it was a great solid film.
Well, you see, I think this is the beautiful thing about filmmaking is so subjective. That could be moving to you and not to me. But I say this with humility. I think he's incredible. He's incredible. Yeah. And I felt the same about Frankenstein. I felt that it was incredible, like storytelling. But then I wasn't that into the relationships. The cast is incredible. It's Oscar Isaac is Victor Frankenstein. And then there's Jacob Elordi as the monster. He's great at it. And then Mia Goth, the indie darling of horror movies. She's incredible. She's incredible. Everybody's incredible in it. Is kind of like an interesting love interest that becomes kind of like a love square between Victor Frankenstein, the monster, and Victor's sibling, his brother. So it's a very interesting movie. I really want to see what you have to say about it. I'm really excited that they're watching it tonight. We're going to talk about it next time we see each other.
I'm so excited to see Guillermo in person. I'm so excited.
He's a treat. He's a treat to listen to. It was incredible. The craft of this movie Helen, I think is a watermark that is going to be hard to beat because I'm going to give you one information. Like they actually loom the fabrics that go into the wardrobe of the movie. So not that they bought fabrics, they actually weave the fabrics that go into the costume. Like that level of craft.
Sorry, what do you mean?
They actually sought together. Like they didn't actually buy the fabric done. Like they made the fabrics that went into the costumes. Like they weave it, together.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, they're crazy. They're crazy craft.
Right, interesting choice, but okay.
He goes all the way into.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wonder what it was that made the film just fine, because that was a review of someone yesterday who I asked, my friend Bryce. He watched it and it was fine. Was it the story? Was it the editing? What do you think? What made it just kind of fall flat for you?
First of all, it's
maybe the directing.
I think everything I say will sound very bad, but listen, the movie is very long and it's episodic, right? So it's it's literary.
How long is it?
It's like 3 hours and change.
Stop. It's not 3 hours. No. I can't sit through a 3 hour movie right now.
You hate that. I know. 2 hours and a half. It felt like 3. And I think halfway into it, they changed their point of view to, I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it doesn't change it.
Spoiler.
I mean, I'm not saying the story. Is it a spoiler? Is it a bad spoiler? No, but it's something that happened. I mean, I'm telling you the story. I mean, it's just the structure.
All right.
I'm spoiling the structure.
Yeah.
The point of view changes. I'm not going to say how. And like a novel, right? So it's very literary that way. And you're already very invested. When point of view changes in a movie, it's a tough choice, right? You can lose. You got to reconnect with the whole story. That happened. And then, listen, I think that when he was talking about the movie, he came up with this description of things. Like he was like, this is, for example, a reference to the book of Job in the Bible, right? Is basically Job asking God, why me? And God saying, why not? Like he put that into the movie. And he also was mentioning how his own childhood and these things that happened in his life were in the movie, and how he went into Mary Shelley's original text and life and weaved that in to the story. And he was giving all this information. And what I couldn't help to feel was that those were more, when he said those things, you could identify them, but it felt more like he was planting Easter eggs than converting this information into an actual movie that you get emotional about and it becomes original. I felt that it's a little bit paint by numbers from where I'm standing, like for what I like from movies. It lacks certain originality in the way that he approaches things, because everything feels like a movie. So every part of it is a little bit tropey from, you kind of know where it's going. Yeah. And I feel like they maybe falls a little flat with people. I think we're in a time where people wants to see the language of cinema deconstructed. They want to see new ways of telling stories. They don't want to see the perfect way to tell a story. I don't.
I think there's something to the fact that he wrote and directed it. Because, well, then, no, I can't. No, that's actually not true. Because then you compare it to like PTA. He wrote and directed it.
No, but there's something to what you're saying, because he spent 20 years with this movie, probably.
Really?
I think that, yeah, this is a movie he always wanted to make. He's very proud of it. He feels like he's happy that this happened so late because he finally had the craft and the means to do it right. This is a very expensive movie. You know what's crazy about it? The movie was $120 million and it feels like 200. Like it feels huge. Like it's huge. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Everything about it is beautiful. And I was thinking back at PTA's One Battle After Another, and that's 160 or at least 120 too. I don't know. And it doesn't feel that big compared to this, which is crazy.
Doesn't. I wonder, it's the actors.
Where did that money go? It's not that.
Yeah. I don't know where that money.
Do you feel the same way?
I haven't seen Frankenstein, so I don't know. But I did feel like, that was a very big budget for
what it was.
Do you think it was Leonardo DiCaprio just taking up the majority of the budget?
I think he took 30 at least. I think he at least takes 30.
$30 million.
I think his baseline is 25. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Could you imagine? Every time you do a job, it's $30 million.
I might transition to acting.
I mean, you're not too late. What else?
After another. I want to hear what you have to say, but I will tell you that I watched Hedda. Have you seen Hedda? Have I talked about Hedda on this?
No.
Okay. Hedda was great. It was my second time watching it because
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's Nia DaCosta's film with Tessa Thompson. It's based on Hedda Gabler.
Oh, yeah.
The play. And it's a very famous play that all actors are like, they die, like women die to play this role. Like they want to play Hedda, you know? It was shot in the UK, very beautiful. It's a very solid film. I like it. I like the story. You don't expect some of the things that she does. She definitely steers away from how it happens in the play.
Have you seen the play?
No, but she was talking about it at the Q&A. But Tessa Thompson was so good. So
She's amazing, right?
Amazing. She's really, really cool. And I will say I did not enjoy it as much the second time watching it. It's one of those
Why did you watch it twice?
Because I watched it once with Bryce. He had invited me to a screening, and then Sierra and I are doing research for my short film, and Hedda came up in terms of sound, and so we both were like, okay, we should go watch it. But Sierra wanted to watch it anyway. Solid film, highly recommend. You don't need to watch it twice, but yeah, you should watch it.
That's such a fun boy thing. Okay, so I want to tell you about another movie I watched that I adored because I want to say something positive about something. It's an animation movie. It's a short 70-minute breeze of a movie. It's called Little Amelie or The Character of the Rain. Convoluted title, I would say, because it's based on a novel by Amélie Nothomb, The Character of the Rain. And it's an animated French movie, independent. I went to see it at a screening, and I really hope that it gets distributed in the US because it's so beautiful. It's about this little French girl growing up in Japan. She's the daughter of diplomat parents in the 60s. And it's all told from the story of this baby. So she's born, and then she's a toddler, and then she has this internal monologue and how she experiences the discovery of life, of who she is as a person, and also who's around them, and the Japanese culture, and this idea that of a character that's torn between her Japanese identity, which is very foreign to her because actually she is white. She's a white French, it's Belgian little girl, and then the world around them, the world of post-war Japan. And it's the most beautiful movie in the way that it's done, in the way that it's written. It's so unusual, and it made me cry and laugh, and I enjoyed it so much. Yeah, it was great.
What is the name of it again?
It's called Little Amelie or The Character of the Rain.
Little Amelie, or there's an or in it. Okay.
There's an actual or, The Character of Rain, which is the character of Rain it's supposed to represent the Japanese character of Rain, which is actually similar to her name in Japanese. So
that's awesome. That's cool. I'm gonna keep an eye out for it so I can watch it because
I hope it ends up somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then I watched Good Fortune by Aziz Ansari with Kenny Reeves and Aziz Ansari, and I thought it was hilarious. I had really enjoyed it. I don't think it's a good movie, I think it's forgettable, but the jokes are great. It's not nothing, and it has a great message about class in a way that I haven't seen in the US cinemas.
Interesting.
I would say it's and just because of that, I would say it's so interesting because it really does have a refreshing take on gig economy and how workers in the gig economy are exploited by corporations, and in a way dismantling this myth of the self-made men. Right? Like that if you're rich in America, it's because you made it out of your own sheer will. And that's, so false. And so it tells the story of these two characters, Seth Rogen, who's like this privileged guy that ends up working for a hedge fund, and this other guy who's like basically a gig economy guy from an Indian family who didn't have the lucky break that the other had, and ended up in a very, very tough economical situation. And it's very accurate in the way the movie depicts their financial situation. So how does it feel to be a gig worker, and how like the system starts like limiting your possibilities until you end up living in your car. You're a completely functional, hardworking person, but you end up living in your car. And the movie does a very good job at telling you, okay, this is how it happens. And at the same time, it's very funny. So I thought, okay, this is great. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's good in that there's so many things that are rough around the edges, but it doesn't really matter.
Who wrote it? I'm going to look it up because it sounds...
So Aziz wrote it.
Aziz wrote it.
He stars on it too.
He wrote and directed it. Aziz did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, for a directorial debut, how was it? Actually, no. He probably directed Master of None episodes.
He did a lot of that.
Yeah.
The directing is fine. I think the writing lacks nuance on the certain relationships. They're a little bit cartoonish. Like there's a love interest, and that whole thing feels a little bit rough around the edges. It's not really deep. Like it's a little stereotypical, tropey. But the jokes are great, and has this deadpan humor and tone that that's very good and fits Keanu Reeves so well. Keanu Reeves is so funny in it. Yeah, no, it's a good movie to watch at Netflix. I wouldn't.
Yes, I'm not going to go to the theater to watch it.
No, it's not, I don't think it's worth it. It's a great time at home, and it's a short movie, beautiful. And then I finally watched PTA's One Battle After Another.
Okay,
listen.
Question.
Yeah.
Out of 5 stars, what are you giving it?
Fuck. I will give it. No, it's not 5. I think it's a 4. I think it's a It's like a good movie. It's 3.5. I'm downgrading it to 3.5 stars. One Battle After Another. Ask me questions. I think this should be a conversation because this is an old movie right now.
I know. It's old. Leo was fantastic in it. Very funny.
Incredible.
Great Mexican whistle that he does when he's like,
oh my God.
Yeah, no, he
crazy.
Fantastic. Benicio del Toro, also hilarious.
Oh my God.
For me, Sean Penn stole the movie for me. He was so funny, so good. I'm just like, and it wasn't like a predictable movie at all. I do think that they lacked like nuance. It lacked nuance in terms of like the mother-daughter, closing the loop on that.
What about that, right? Were you waiting? So were you hoping that the character comes back in the end or something?
I was waiting for her to rescue her daughter.
Yeah.
Come back and rescue her daughter.
She rescue herself.
That was weird. How did you feel about the length of it?
Indulgent. Self-indulgent. Really? I thought that, I mean, I'm the audience, so I really enjoyed it. I didn't think that the movie felt long to me, but because I loved it. But it's a very long movie. And it has it's self-indulgent. No, I don't say this pejoratively. Like, I think that he does everything he wants to do. Like, every scene. This is already an old movie, so I can spoil it. If you're a director and I tell you, okay, this is a script, the first thing you as a producer will come back to me would be, do you need all this shots for the Mexican gang that has like the skaters like escaping through the rooftops? Like, can we do just like a couple of shots?
It was very funny, I will say.
That lasts a long time. And then it does like, everything that he does is like, there's so many things in this movie that could be, removed. And I'm glad they're there, but, it's a lot of different parts to it. But that's him. And I think that's part of what makes it unusual. So I didn't mind. And I thought everything was very entertaining. And I thought the ending was iconic. I think the ending on those hill roads, it will be one of the most iconic scenes in cinema. I think I can see how that can grow into a canon and become something very
You mean
remembered.
The car?
The car is a car chase on rolling hills on a road. Yeah. And so the cars lose sight of the next car. And that was not planned. Like, that was like they were giving up on that sequence, and then they find this. He was giving up on the scouting of it and then eventually sending his team by themselves, and the team comes back with this idea of the road and he writes it in. So it's something they found in the pre-production of the movie. It wasn't in the script, like the fact that they're rolling hills. And I thought that was okay, this is pure cinema. That is kind of the kind of thing you never forget.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so hard to find those things nowadays. So I thought that was lovely. Maybe the one thing I would say why it's not a 5-star for me is like, it was a funny comedy. It felt like a Coen brother movie, satire, but it lacked a little bit of the magic that sometimes he has in his other movies. And sometimes that magic comes in the way of like weirder, more exploratory dynamics between the characters. I think this is a very clear-cut comedy movie, which is like very eventful, and then you can follow. It's very linear in a way that other movies that he does aren't. And I think he creates that magic by being very unusual on the story choices he makes and the scenes that he makes. And I didn't find any of that here. I felt like it was him trying to be entertaining. And I think that's fine. And that's why I love it. And I give it 3.5 and not like, I don't think it's kind of like those masterpieces. Did the movie work with audiences, do you think?
Yeah, I think it did. I think I have one hang up that I'm curious to get your opinion on, because I had a conversation with these film bros the other night. And I was just like, yeah, I like the movie. I just wish that, PTA had actually done what the movie did. Like, in the movie, he's this revolutionary and they're fighting against, the immigration crisis and not addressing it in like the press tours. I'm not sure if they did. Maybe they did at some point, but I don't think they did. I think it would have been all over the news. But PTA has such a big platform. Leonardo has such a big platform. He plays a revolutionary. So I just think that the impact it could have had would have made sense to why he wanted to make the movie. Otherwise, it feels like, oh, you found like something topical and turned it into a film and exploited it in a way, you know?
I'm really curious. I'm really curious to see what he was advised. Like, this is a movie that it will now do an Oscar, like a big Oscar campaign, right? The big hope for this movie is to win Best Director, right?
That makes me nervous. That makes me nervous. He's not gonna touch the subject when he wins the award. Like,
I think it would be very weird if he doesn't. I don't know.
It'd be so weird if he doesn't.
But you know what I felt in the movie, and maybe this is unfair, but I felt that the topic of that revolution was cartoonish, and that it wasn't really there's a lack of nuance in the way that they depict these revolutionaries, that it feels like more of an idea of a revolutionary more than understanding what is it actually that they stand for, right? In a way, the view of the movie is that, she's a misfit, she's a crazy person, she's an impulsive character, and the revolution that she's trying to get across is not out of ideals or actual ideology. Is more about like her personality, an impulsive, like destructive personality. So the movie, in a way, is a little bit conservative in that it sympathizes with the cause of the whatever revolution they're trying to do, but then feels more like a punk rock thing that becomes a caricature and anti-system thing, more than saying this is an ideological idea, right? Every person who's like who fights for ideals in the first act or the setup becomes kind of like a beaten down person that didn't follow through on their ideals and didn't organize enough to make change or to bring up change. And that movie becomes a little bit cynical.
Yes, you're right. I agree with everything that you said. It just feels like it was a caricature, and it just didn't. It could have been better, but I don't think he was trying to do that. He wasn't. I don't know. He just doesn't strike me as like the most political person, but I don't really know that much about him. Obviously, I don't know him. He could be. He was just trying to make, like you said, he was trying to make an entertaining movie.
To me, he feels like a white liberal person who's probably, he's obviously not agreeing with this crazy fascist move of and cruelty of the way that America is treating their immigrants, but it doesn't strike me as a person who wants to make a political statement. It's more about like, it's life. There's the left, there's the right, there's the fascists, there's the crazy leftists, and it's funny. Well, let's see what happens in the campaign.
Yeah.
Because it would make a difference if he kind of like takes a stand for something in the movie, and the movie is there. I think I think Benicio's character is the one that maybe is the more consequential, and it feels like real, and I appreciate it. It's like I get what Benicio stands for. It's a grassroots organizational group that takes care of immigrants and have real radical ways to protect them. The other ones, they're kind of like the revolutionaries, I don't know what they stand for. It sounds like a Marxist guerrilla from the 70s. It really felt Latin American in the way, like 70s Latin America, where like crazy people would just do things and just like out of ideological confusion. They were not really consequential.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, we put an end to our one battle after another conversation until I get Oscars. I don't have any good film-related news, sadly.
There's not that many good things that happen.
Yeah, is there anything that you're looking forward to watching this week?
I have a bunch. I need to check on the screenings. I have a bunch of screenings that I've been invited, so maybe we can check something together. There was some things that I felt that were too Netflixy, and I don't want to go to the theater for it. There's a new Catherine Bigelow movie about a terrorist attack or something, and I feel like I don't know how to watch that.
I haven't heard about that one.
House of Dynamite.
Catherine Dynamite. Oh, okay. You should check out, so we could talk about it, you should check out After the Hunt.
Yes, I will see that.
Another long one.
And I'm binge watching Slow Horses, so we'll talk about it.
No.
Finale comes on Wednesday.
No, we don't need to talk about Slow Horses.
Because you don't like cops?
What? You know what I did finish? I did finish Task. And I do not understand why people are freaking obsessed with this show. They're like,
because there's nothing, Helen.
Because year, and I'm like, is it?
The bar is very low.
Yeah, you're right. There isn't a lot this year.
And these good characters, whatever.
That's true. But wasn't Severance this year? Like earlier in the year, there were more shows.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Low. That's all. That's all, folks.
Bye.
Bye.